Morning, Mr. Kiley.
Mr. Kestenbaum, thank you for your very compelling and very disturbing testimony. I am so sorry for what you and your peers have had to endure, just the backwardness and the horror on Harvard's campus. I want to reiterate a very important point from your testimony, which is that Harvard caved to the demands of the encampment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And tell us again how long the encampment was there?
About 3 weeks.
And you had the people in this encampment, I don't know if they were students or not, who were harassing Jewish students, who were threatening them, who were following them around and monitoring their activities. And in response to this, the university gave them what they wanted?
That's absolutely correct.
And what were the demands that were agreed to?
They want a full divestment from the only Jewish state. They want a Palestinian Studies Center, and they want to have full control over certain narratives that are being given in classrooms as it pertains to Israel.
And this was described as a negotiation. Were you invited to that negotiation?
I've never once been invited to speak with the president, with the dean, with anyone of power in Harvard.
So this is the important point. And you have these university presidents, and this has become a trend now, of university presidents caving to the demands of the encampments. And then they pat themselves on the back, they say, oh, the reasoned dialogue, that's how we got here. Dialogue is the answer. This is not dialogue. This is the opposite of dialogue. Dialogue involves a reasoned consideration of different points of view. Dialogue is not the preferred mode of operation for anti-Semites and anarchists and terrorists and their sympathizers because their arguments are terrible. They're morally bankrupt. They're repugnant. And so they prefer to do things by force. And now you have university administrations that are rewarding that mode of operation by saying the way that you get to be part of this negotiation is not by representing a significant voice on campus, not by someone who's been victimized by the things that are going on campus. Rather, the way that we will negotiate with you is if you engage in illegal activities and violate the university's rules and harass other students. And we're seeing this at more and more universities now. Just today, Sonoma State, which is a university in California, announced that they were, in response to the encampment there, basically adopting the full BDS program. They even said that for flyers that might be out there that made reference to study abroad in Israel, they would immediately act to get rid of those flyers so that the word Israel doesn't even appear on any of them. And then to top it all off, to enforce this new policy, they set up an advisory council of students for justice in Palestine. I'm not making this up. This is actually what they did. This council will enforce the agreement, and it's going to consist of members from the encampment, faculty, staff, administrators, Palestinian alumni, and other interested students. This is an absolute disgrace. Any leader at Sonoma State who is party to this needs to resign immediately. They're institutionalizing anti-Semitism. But I'll give you another example, because you said you haven't been invited to take part in negotiations, to have any sort of meeting with university leadership, and that's what we're seeing at universities across the country. Here's an example from University of California, San Diego, where a student emailed the chair of the Academic Senate and said, "Hope all is well. I've been invited to schedule a meeting with the Academic Senate regarding my experience as a Jewish and Israeli student on campus during this academic year. Please let me know the follow-up steps." The response, and this is from John Hildebrand, the chair of the Academic Senate at UCSD, says, "I apologize, but we can't meet with you at this time. There is a lot going on, and it's just not possible just now. Feel free to send comments to my email, but as you may imagine, we are inundated with requests." This is an absolutely shameful state of affairs, where you have the voice of Jewish American students that is being sidelined, the people who are most affected by what's going on our campuses, but the people who are creating the disruption, who are engaging in harassment, who are engaging in threats of violence, and even in some cases acts of violence, are being elevated, are being given a privileged position, and then are having their anti-Semitic, anti-Israel demands actually being agreed to by the administration. So this has become a much bigger problem than just the sort of scenes that we are seeing that are so disturbing that have been described by our witnesses today. It has become an institutional problem, the way that universities are responding to this. But of course, we know that it's the actions of the universities that in many ways have led to this crisis that we're now experiencing in the first place. So I want to thank, in particular, the students here from Harvard and from Penn, and so many voices that we've heard, courageous accounts from all across the country. We need fundamental reform in American higher education. I yield back.